All right, so we're going to go through a CP2000 notice that a client of mine did receive for not reporting the sale of her primary home. And in addition to that, there was a quirk here that she was issued a 1099 for the sale of her daughter's property that escrow mistakenly gave her. She was on the loan, however, she wasn't a homeowner. So we had to essentially address both of these issues. We're going to show the original CP2000 notice, the response statement, in addition to all the supporting documents that were sent over to the IRS, and then any subsequent letters that the IRS sent back. Here we go. All right, so here's the original notice that they got, right? Big tax bill, over $300,000, massive penalties and interest, super scary that they got. You'll see down here on the third page kind of why they got it, but you'll see again, it is for the property sales. So this is their primary home and this is her daughter's property, or vice versa, something like that, okay? And then how we go ahead and address this. All right, so our response to this, right? First and foremost, we have to fill out this response form that the IRS gives us. So on the second page, at least of this one here, right, we did the check the box of, hey, we don't agree to these changes. And then I had them signed to authorize me just in case things kind of go sideways. In addition to that, I give a statement to what we think should happen to this return and kind of what I'm sending over here. So to begin, this is like the meat and potatoes of this video here. This is really where all the value comes into play, okay? So this is kind of standard template that I use, okay? I'm going to fill out all this kind of stuff. You'll see maybe the only thing that you probably don't recognize is that AUR, and that's essentially on the original notice. We'll see that AUR. It's just to help the IRS when they receive this kind of track this down, but you'll see up at the top here on the original notice, there's that AUR number. I use that on there. And then I just say, hey, we do not agree to the proposed changes. So, and then I explain essentially what happened. Hey, we did miss reporting the original sale of our home, but we also missed the basis in this thing, okay? We didn't make all that money because we bought the home for a price. And looks like there was also an error that they only issued half of the value of the home to the taxpayer. Looks another issue with the escrow that happened. So we are reporting the full value there as their home sale. But then what we're going to do here, since this was their primary home, the IRS allows for you to exclude up to $500,000 of the gain on the property if you live there for 2 out of the last 5 years before you sell. So we're going to claim that there. And then what I'm doing here is telling the IRS, hey, take a look at all the forms that should have been included had we done this properly on your original return. So that is the Schedule D, the 8949. I also included this worksheet, which doesn't normally get filed when you file a tax return, but it is the worksheet that the IRS provides to be able to fill out the 8949 properly for a home sale. And then on top of that, I also included, right, the closing statement, which has kind of the sales price and all the expenses that I used to fill out the Schedule D 8949. Okay, and then in addition to, right, I had number one, now I got number two here, which was the other issue where she had a 1099 mistakenly issued to her when it wasn't her property, it was her daughter's property. And we're saying that right here, we're essentially saying, hey, take a look at my daughter's property, or sorry, my daughter's tax return. She already reported this whole thing on there. Remove it from my account is really what that is saying. And then at the bottom, hey, please adjust the proposed amount to 0 because the full gain on my home should have been excluded because we get the $500,000 of the primary home sale exclusion. And then the other 1099 that was received was already reported on my daughter's tax return. Remove that one. And so that's what we do, right? We send this for this statement here, and then along with all our supporting documents, right? The Schedule D, which reports the home sale and the adjustment because we qualify for the for the primary homeowner's exclusion up to $500,000 when you file jointly, which is what they did here. Okay, and then so we should see the 8949 down here, kind of, again, reporting that is all, and then the home sale worksheet, again, reporting when we bought it, when we sold it, the sales price, how much we paid in commissions, how much we bought the home for, what is our gain, but then, hey, we qualify for the primary homeowners exclusion of the 500,000. Okay. And then in addition, like I said, oh, here's the closing statement, right? That also kind of tells that stuff. But in addition, there's the tax return of the daughters, right? That is reporting the home sale. Okay. And then, we're showing them this, right? The Schedule D, same thing. Here's their home sale. And then that they also qualified for this primary homeowners exclusion, right? That's it. So next thing that happened in this case was we got this letter back from the IRS saying, hey, we got your response here. Give us some additional time to work on it. Up to 90 days is what they're saying. So we got this one in January 23rd of 24. We sent out our response, I believe it was December. So about a month later, we got this form. And then last but not least, we got this essentially results notice here, March of 24, a couple months later, saying, hey, thank you for the response, says down here. We're pleased to inform you that the whole thing has been resolved, right? There is a zero amount due. So, obviously pretty stoked, went from 300,000 to a zero bill. And this took 3-ish months from the time that we responded till we got this notice saying that the whole thing was closed out. Hope it was helpful. If you had some type of situation like this, if it was, hit that like button, help us out as well. If you have a CP2000 notice that is a little bit different than the one we see here, I have a whole bunch of these videos, so be sure to check those out. Thank you.